All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is John McNamara. I'm the Superintendent of Schools, and this is our third budget forum of the year. We are in the process of getting ready to adopt our budget, which will take place on Thursday. So we certainly appreciate all the feedback along the way, and we thank those of you that are viewing from home as well. I'm joined here tonight by my team, Carol Ann Winans, our Executive Director for Curriculum Instruction, K-12, Stephanie Scolari, our Executive Director for Human Resources Administration, Anthony Cedrone, our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Christine Kim is here with us as well, our Assistant Director for Business, and we are going to be kind of walking you through the budget tonight and tell you a little bit about where we are in the process, and focus on personnel. I also want to just thank several members of the Board of Education that joined us tonight as well. Adam Fisher, our Board of Education President, and then trustees Laura Reish and Jennifer Perfetti are here tonight. All right, so we have one more forum after tonight, and that's tomorrow morning. For anybody that could not make one of our evening presentations, we do a daytime presentation. That'll take place at 10 a.m. over at our public library as well. All right, goals for the budget this year. We kind of reviewed much of this in our last two forums, so we'll move through this rather quickly. One is continue all of our outstanding programs. That's where we always start. We always want to review all of our programs, continue all our great offerings, and look to support those items. We also really focus this year on looking for ways to further reduce elementary class size. That's been an ongoing goal for the Board of Education over the past several years, is to bring that back down. Where in 2021 they went up a tick, so we wanted to really bring those back down. And we're happy to report tonight, we'll mention that as well, that we were able to achieve that goal. Continue to support our UPK program. That's been really successful. We're up to 8 sections of UPK across the district, 4 over at Wantagh L, 3 at Forest Lake, and 2 at Mandalay. So continue along that road as well. And then you'll see tonight, several areas that we're going to focus on in terms of district facilities too. There's 2 propositions on the budget vote that you'll see in May that will be in the areas of facilities. So we'll mention a little bit about those this evening as well. And then security. Continue to look for ways to upgrade and enhance our security. So I'll touch on that tonight as well. Good financial news all around. Mr. Cedrone, when he speaks in a little bit, we'll touch on many pieces of this. Improved fiscal stress score, improved outlook just in terms of our state aid, and the recent bond approval as well. All good pieces that really point to a stable financial condition for our district. This is where the budget currently stands. That will be before the board for an opportunity to approve on Thursday evening, and you can see where we were in 23-24, an $89.4 million budget, just shy of 89.5, to a $91.7 million budget. Budget-to-budget increase of $2.2 million, and a tax levy increase of $1.7 million for a 2.72%. Tax levy increase, just below the tax levy limit. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Winans just to speak a little bit about some of the outstanding academic achievement that we have across our district. We always like to highlight the recent graduating class and some of their outstanding achievements, because it really is a culmination of all the work that's been done K-12.
All right, so the first thing we're going to discuss is really our AP Scholars. So we had a total of 66 students earn one or another designation, with 26 students earning an AP Scholar, 12 AP Scholar with honor, and 28 AP Scholars with distinction. We had a 100% graduation rate, with students earning Regents diplomas with advanced designation, and Regents diplomas with advanced designation. We had 88% of the students attend a 4-year college, 7% of students attend a 2-year college, 4% sought employment, and about 1% either went to the military or trade school. This is something that we're really proud of with many of our college and AP offerings. We had over 91% of the class of 2023 take one college level course or advanced placement course, and we have students taking up to 6, 32.7% took up to 6 AP or college courses. We're also really excited to introduce some new course offerings for the 24-25 school year. We have Broadway Tech Behind the Spotlight, Introduction to Game Design at our middle school. We're expanding our opportunities for our 7-8 honors, as well as additional time for all 7th grade students to really lay a solid foundation for mathematics. We have high school electives in advanced ceramics, advanced sculpture, advanced choreography and dance, and another thing that's on the slide, although approved last year, we are expanding our science research program, and we're really proud of that as well.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Winans. This just mentioned earlier, the UPK portion of it. You can see how we continue to look to expand that program. We've received some nice funding from New York State to do so. And our biggest challenge to date has been really just space and finding ways to accommodate the additional classrooms in each of our buildings. And as I mentioned, we anticipate 8 sections again for this upcoming school year. We had 8 sections that this current year that weren't fully enrolled. We had 130 students. We had the capability to handle 144 students. Right now we have a small wait list of maybe about 20 students or so that currently exists for entry into our UPK program for the fall. So we look to really continue that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, focus on class size, really looking to continue to bring down our class sizes. You can see over the course of through next year, we look to bring down our average class size pretty significantly over at Wantagh L. That's been really the building that we've focused on, where we saw some higher class sizes in the past couple of years. So all things pointing in the right direction there. And when Dr. Scolari speaks momentarily, you'll see that's an addition of 2 full-time elementary teachers at Wantagh Elementary School for next year. And then I mentioned security. We're working with a new security vendor, and we are looking to upgrade our current camera system as well as our lockdown system. Some of that work has already started, and will continue through the summer. And then also looking to expand hours for some of our security guards and add some additional guards at some critical spots as well. So we'll continue that. That's part of an ongoing plan we've had over the past 3 years. So this will be year 3 of that 3-year plan to slowly increase our security staff and improve our security infrastructure as well. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Scolari. She'll walk you through some of the different instructional staffing and as well as some of the support staff.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. So we are an organization of people, and the people are the ones that provide the services and programs to our students. And that is a big driving force for the budget. So as you can see, salary and benefits for the staff, which comprises of 75% of the budget, is over $70 million. So this is where a large portion of the budget and the money goes towards, which is for the programs and services for the students. There's a lot of numbers here, but what I really wanted to highlight was the 23-24 school year and where some big changes are. This is broken down by department, so you can see across the district how many people or staff members we have in each department. You can see on the first yellow, you'll see in 23-24 we had 66 elementary school teachers, and now because of the reduced class sizes, we will go up to 68. You will also see that we had an increase in E&L of 0.6. We also have an increase of 2.5 special education teachers that we will need. That is due to the expansion of the life skills program in the high school. That's 1 teacher. In addition, a 3rd section of 6th grade ICT for the middle school. So that's the 2. And then you can notice on the bottom, there's health, and it went up 0.5. We're expanding health for there's going to be a 1-year bump. Next year, we anticipate that being flat and going back down, where we're expanding health to 10th graders as well. So for next year, they will be taking health. They'd have the opportunity in 10th or 11th grade, where historically, they've only had health in 11th grade. This is a 24-year trend of enrollment, and you can see that at one point we were high up in the 3,000s. However, for the past 7 years, we've been pretty steady, and it really hasn't changed in the past 7 years. So we had a high peak, and then we did decline, but it's been steady, and that's where it seems to be heading for the future. In terms of instructional staff, you can see there is an addition of 2 staff members this year, for next year versus this year, and that is including the 2 additional sections of elementary school and the special ed. So we're able to make reductions in other areas just so we can not have such a huge increase. And historically, in the past 15 years, you'll see that we reduced about 787 students, but we did so much in that time. So as much as we reduced the amount of students in the district, we went to full-time kindergarten. We included a STEAM program. We have an elementary guidance program, with science research, increase in E&L services and special education services, in addition to the creation of the science research program. So even though there's less enrollment, we included so many more programs for this district in the past 15 years. Administrative staff for the district, it's been steady for the past 3 years. We're less than we were 6 years ago. So this is just a slide that showcases that. The next couple of slides will be broken down the amount of teachers per building. So we'll start with Mandalay. That's Mandalay for this year versus next year. It's pretty status quo. We're maybe down a 0.1 or a 0.2 in support services, but the rest of it's status quo. Forest Lake, same thing, similar to Mandalay, pretty status quo. They're down a 0.2 overall with reading support and in the specials, but the rest is pretty much the same. Wantagh Elementary School is where you'll see the increase in elementary school staff, K5, to 27 to 29, and in the other areas, it's pretty status quo. Where we had a lot of cuts and additions of what the areas that we couldn't avoid, you'll see is the middle school and the high school. You'll see special education in the middle school went up a whole FTE. And then in the other departments, they're pretty status quo, down a little bit, higher a little bit. You'll see reading, decreased reading support services in the middle school as well. And then for the high school, you'll see their big increase of special education as well, 1.5 teachers, in addition to the health program that we mentioned earlier, which has an increase of a 0.5 from this year. Just to recap of the changes in instructional positions from the 23-24 school year to 24-25 is a reduction in elementary class size, so 2 additional sections at Wantagh Elementary School, the expansion of the life skills program as mentioned earlier to the high school, the additional 6th grade ICT section, new entrants requiring E&L services, expansion of health education for 10th graders, and other reductions in classes with low enrollment. This is a support staff summary. Is everyone else besides the instructional staff? So the clericals, buildings and grounds, aides, monitors, nurses, OTs, PTs. And currently for this year, we have 192 FTEs. And next year, we made a little bit, we reduced in each department, and we will be down 5 positions to 187. And that's the staffing.
Thank you, Dr. Scolari. And also mentioned earlier just the capital projects. We spent the last forum really talking a lot about this. So I'll just go over some of the highlights from that. We just gave an update on our bond projects, kind of the 2 referendums that were approved back in December of '22, where those projects stand. The bulk of referendum one were window replacements, electrical upgrades, and UV replacements, HVAC work in all of our buildings. And all that has been approved by SED. That's really the first part of the process, is getting voter approval, then submitting plans to SED, getting that approval. That takes anywhere from 4 to 7 or 8 months, depending on the project. And then projects that go out to bid. And then we ultimately schedule work with a contractor. So that's really where we are in that process. We anticipate these large projects really getting underway for summer of '25. That's where we'll kind of see a kickoff of those projects once they go out to bid, and then we start scheduling that work. And then referendum 3, also in various stages, those were cafeteria renovations in all of our buildings in terms of the kitchens, and then a full cafeteria renovation here at Wantagh High School. Bathroom renovations at various locations across the district. We have the first of those projects approved, and that work will begin soon. We anticipate some of that work at the middle school and high school beginning probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks or so, and then some more work that will be done over the summer. And then a full renovation of our Wantagh High School library as well that we're just awaiting state ed review on. And then you can see some of the capital projects that were approved last year and where we are with those. We had the new athletics field scoreboard installed. We had some rooftop HVAC work done in the main gym at Wantagh High School as part of our full gym renovation there. We also had some hallway ceiling replacements done throughout Wantagh Middle School. That was done over the summer. And then we have some other work that's in progress right now. We're going to see some roof work that's going to be going out, probably done summer '24, and that looks like that. And then some door replacements throughout the district that are in progress, as well as some masonry work as well. So all that's moving along. Within this budget, we have a number of projects in our transfer to capital line. You can see they're listed here. We have a full gymnasium project at Wantagh Middle School that's going to take place. That includes the floor and wall pads and painting. We have some ceiling replacements budgeted for at Wantagh High School throughout all the hallways here. And as you walk the hallways here, you'll notice the reason for that. They're very dated, our ceilings, and it's time for full replacement. That'll be lighting as well with new LED lights and really brighten up those spaces. We have some work budgeted for at our auditorium, some smaller lighting and projector project, some asphalt replacement across the district. That represents about 25% of the asphalt work that needs to be done across the district. So that'll be the first phase of that. Most likely that will be done at Wantagh Middle School. And then a number of other flooring replacements at Wantagh Middle School as well. We'll be replacing some older classroom floors. And then various facilities projects throughout the district, flooring replacements. We have some door replacement projects, fencing replacements that are included in that last line as well. So that'll be our transfer to capital. In addition, we're asking the voters to approve an expenditure out of our capital reserve fund. Those are dollars that are already there that we have put away into that reserve fund. And we'll be asking for approval there, and that will be to upgrade our PA systems across the district in each one of our buildings. We're currently working with a number of vendors to get some ideas for those projects that we would anticipate that would be something that will be done throughout the year, next year, and also upgrading our communication systems within our classrooms, classroom phones in each one of our classrooms as well. And this is just the proposition. There will be 2 propositions that will appear on the ballot for voter approval. The first one is to make that expenditure, that $1.2 million expenditure out of the fund. And the second one is to create a new capital reserve fund. Back in 2017, we created the current capital reserve fund for $7.5 million to be expended over that 10-year period. This would be to create a $10 million capital reserve fund for a 15-year period. That we would have to fund that and spend the money. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Cedrone, and he'll walk you through some of the financial pieces that I mentioned earlier, starting with some fund balance information.
So at the end of any given school year, since a budget by definition is just an estimate, there potentially could be some money left over. And by law, you're legally allowed to retain that in various different categories called reserves. This slide details the reserves that we currently have, the balances as of June 30th, 23 from last year, and projections at this point for what we think they might be at the end of June of 24. You're only allowed to use them for certain purposes. The purposes are actually the names of the reserves, so you can see what those are. Really, the only change on this slide from the previous two presentations was I added an insurance reserve. And there's a question mark there because the dollar amount will be determined as we get closer to the end of the year. The reason for the addition is the district's insurer, starting on July 1st, is adding, similar to your homeowner's policy, if you've ever read it, you have a wind deductible. Like if there was ever a big storm, your $1,000 deductible becomes a percentage of the value of your home. They're instituting that with us. And the deductible in a named storm with a lot of damage would be 1% of the building's value. So district-wide, the buildings are worth about $100 million. So the goal would ultimately be to get $1 million in that reserve to insure against that deductible should we have some sort of a storm that caused substantial damage to any of the buildings. So that's really the only addition. That's something that we would work towards funding. Again, the dollar amount will be determined at the end of the year when we see what's left in total and whether how much we want to put in capital or in some of the other reserves. The fiscal stress score, this was, as was mentioned, part of the positive financial news. You can see the history of the scores on the right-hand side there. We're fairly low, spiked, and have come back down. Last year was currently at 0, which is the best score that you can get, is no score at all. The state looks at things like fund balance, any operating deficits, your cash position at the end of the year, and any short-term borrowing to come up with that score. And we've made good progress on the previous slide, they look at things like reserves, it's part of your cash position and that kind of stuff. So as that has improved, so has the score come down. So that's definitely a positive piece of fiscal news for the district as well. Major drivers in the budget, as part of that increase, as was mentioned, it is a staffing organization, so 70% of the budget does go to salary and benefits, which are drivers that are noted in the dollar amounts on this slide. But there are a couple of others as well. Notably, there is, of course, a cost to lowering class size and adding some staff there. The retirement systems kind of follow the stock market and use an average, so as the stock market does, so does the district's contributions to retirement systems, so those are up a bit. Insurance, as I mentioned, premiums are going up, as well as them kind of tweaking, how they are going to insure us going forward. Continuous for the last couple of years, some technology and cybersecurity expenses that we're going to incur, and transportation costs as well. So when you kind of add all those up, there's a lot of other pluses and minuses in the budget as well, but cumulatively, those represent the largest categories across the board. Health insurance continues to be a large driver in the budget. It's a substantial expense. Employees across the district contribute substantial amounts of money to that as well, but the remaining cost is still a large cost to the school district. And as you can see, over the last 3 years, it's gone up over 33%. So very steep increases to the premiums that the district pays, as well as what the employees absorb as well. So that is definitely a large one of the larger drivers in the budget, and it has been the last couple of years. Flip to the revenue side. State aid represents about 23% of where the school district gets its money from to fund the budget. That's about $22.1 million for next year. Although there's not a final state budget yet, which is now officially a day late. That number is based off of the governor's proposal, which we're going to go with and we believe is solid. Historically, the governor's proposal is sort of a baseline number, and then when the legislature convenes and they all kind of hash out a final number, it typically wouldn't be any worse than that. Most times it's a little bit better than that, but that remains to be seen, and school districts all across the state of New York now in the month of April, by law, have to adopt budgets in advance of the May vote. So that's the number that's included. That's what we're going to go with. That is an increase over this year, which has obviously helped offset some of the expenditure increases that we've been experiencing. But that's the state aid picture as it stands right now. jump back in? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then just kind of wrapping it up, budget focus groups and budget survey. We did a number of focus groups as well as a survey. We appreciate everyone that was able to participate in that. It's a great way to provide some feedback to the board and to us, and we're making some decisions about the budget. We just are closing out that budget survey as of tomorrow. So you still have time to enter into responses if you'd like to. You can see this is a breakdown of who responded to our budget survey. Vast majority of folks had students that attended our schools, almost 80% of the folks. And these were the priorities. Top 3 priorities that we pulled out of the survey were class size reductions, security enhancements, and capital improvements when you kind of look at all of the reportings across the board. And you can see, I think this budget clearly reflects that we were able to accomplish those 3 things. So that feedback was certainly helpful from the community when we took a look at that. All of this info is located on the district website as well. And you can see these were just a summary of some of the key points from tonight. Maintaining all of our outstanding programs and some of the key things that hopefully are takeaways for folks. A decrease in elementary class size, expanding our special ed program, and enhancing security are all going to be able to be accomplished through this budget, as well as addressing some of the significant capital needs that we have through the capital reserve expenditure and a transfer to capital as well. All these presentations you can find on the website. The last one will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And then we have a budget or a business meeting for the Board of Education on Thursday evening. And we'll be officially asking the board to adopt the budget at that time. And we'll do a brief overview of the budget on Thursday evening as well. There are all the next steps. We will have a full budget hearing on May 8th, where we'll present the various aspects of the budget to the community prior to the vote. And we'll be reaching out to our various community organizations, our PTAs. We'll be doing a series of presentations on the budget. That all happens from May 1st to May 20th as well. And then the budget vote ultimately is on Tuesday, May 21st. It'll take place at each one of our elementary schools. And once again, there'll be 3 propositions that folks will be voting for: the budget itself, the expenditure from the Capital Reserve Fund, and the creation of a new Capital Reserve Fund as well. And then we'll turn it over to any questions. All right, seeing no questions, I thank everyone for attending tonight, and I thank those who joined us online as well. And we look forward to seeing you at our final budget forum on tomorrow morning. Thank you.